What's up, guys? Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here with the Arena. Today I'm going to be doing a pros and cons based on the first 30 days of usage. So a product review, an official product review, will be coming after that 30 days expires, but I've been about 3 weeks in now and I've kind of gotten the hang of this thing, sort of the do's and don'ts, and I wanted to throw some of the pros and cons at you guys that I have found thus far. Let me first say, I love this thing. If any of you guys follow the page, you'll know that it gets a lot of attention on story. A lot of the clients are using it. They love it. I love it. So overarching, this is a very, very beloved piece for only being here for 3 weeks. And it's being used quite heavily for only being here for 3 weeks. And the proof is kind of in the pudding on that. If you see me training with a piece of equipment and giving it to my clients, you can probably assess that it's a good piece of equipment, given that I don't train myself, nor do I train my clients with any even close to mediocre equipment. So, Arena, well done. Let's start with the pros. So the biggest pro that I have found about this thing, in my opinion, has to be the variable change of resistance based on the mobile app. That is so convenient, I cannot even tell you, especially when it comes to hypertrophy. If I am doing drop sets, if I am somebody who wants to change a variable resistance in a short amount of time, this is one of the simplest and most straightforward pieces of equipment that will allow me to do that with the touch of a button on my phone. It's so simple and stupid, especially if I'm training a client. I could tell the client, okay, 5 more reps, they stop, drop the weight. 5 more reps, they stop, drop the weight, so on and so forth. You guys get it. It's so easy. The other thing that I love about this is the wide array of different exercise patterns that I can do. Now, if you're looking at this, you will probably assess almost immediately that the resistance all comes from the same place. And a little bit more of that into the cons list later on. But what I have found is that it's a very smooth form of resistance. It's not choppy. That was my big concern when I got this. I've used other styles of resistance like this from machines that oftentimes when you pull on them, when you change them, it will sort of skip as you do. Like the resistance isn't constant. And if you're looking for a very smooth machine feel, well, that's going to bug the heck out of you if you're doing it and it's changing. But as it is, the Arena does a very, very good job of making sure that the resistance stays the same, that if I don't change it on my phone, it doesn't change inside of the box. I'll say this also as a pro for this. This is a very different type of resistance. This is going to be very different feeling than a cable machine. That's the biggest question we've gotten with this since I started using it is, why don't I just use a cable machine? And my answer is, I suppose you could, and I also would argue this is not going to replace your functional trainer. More on that again in the cons list. But I will say, as an added accessory to a home gym, the Arena is incredible. It's in a small space, which is definitely a pro as well. It's got a wide array of different resistance, all the way from 10 pounds all the way to 200. And it is just smooth and well made, and it charges in like an hour. It's super convenient. So while it may not replace your functional trainer, it certainly would be something that I would like in addition to my functional trainer. And I really like this thing. Again, I'm kind of the trainer of extra. I understand that at this point. I love having all the latest and greatest around me. It just makes my job as a trainer so much easier when I can just give my clients the best equipment in the world to train on, and all I have to do is periodize with it. So nice. But let me say this. This is a special piece of equipment. I've never felt anything like this. I've never used a piece of equipment like this. Well done, Arena. Again, I want to make sure I address some of the cons that I found, but let me just say again, my overarching vibe of this is that it's a very good piece of equipment. Now let's talk about some cons. One con that I did notice when I started jumping around with the different exercises that I wanted to do, the first exercise that popped in my head when I saw this was the belt squat. Now, here is what I will say. I'm someone who can belt squat, 400-500 pounds. I'll jump on the squat max, I'll jump on an actual squat, and I will, if I want heavy, I'll go heavy. This does not accomplish that for me. This has a 200-pound max out resistance, and that means that my 1 rep max on this probably doesn't hit, let me say it another way, this probably doesn't hit 60% of my 1 rep max. It doesn't. By doing belt squats on here, I'm going to be in the 20, 30, 40 rep range in order to feel real resistance. But that doesn't mean that this can't be used for lower body. I want to make sure I make that disclaimer. Just because a traditional belt squat is not something that someone like me would find extremely beneficial with the arena, that does not mean that I can't do a single leg step up variation, or I can't do a marching variation where I'm really hitting sort of that unilateral resistance, left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. That is amazing for this. And of course, if you're a coach and you have some clients that aren't really that advanced in their belt squat, you can get them on here, and maybe their belt squat on here would be perfectly fine. But I want to make that disclaimer and say, if you're buying this thinking it's a belt squat, you need to change your perception on that, especially if you're a guy who does a belt squat, somebody who can belt squat a lot of weight. This ain't that. This is different. Now, that's the only exercise I found that's limited on this, and I'll say that right now. Aside from what I'll talk about a little bit later with the high to low angle, the belt squat is the only exercise from low to high that I feel somewhat limited on with the arena. All the other ones works fine. So the first and most obvious con that I see when using this is that you have one area of resistance that this originates from. One, right there. That means that all my exercises, whether I'm doing curls, whether I'm doing press, whether I'm doing a clean, whatever it is, my resistance is coming from right here. That means that if I want to do something like a tricep extension, or I want to do really any exercise whatsoever where I am pushing from high to low, that's impossible with the arena. That goes into my earlier statement where I said you cannot expect to replace your functional trainer with an arena product. It won't transfer over. You will have exercises that you used to be able to do that now you can't. And as a trainer, as someone who's healthy, that would bug the heck out of me. I would not be okay with that. So know that going right in. This is its own machine. It's got its own benefits and its own beauty. It is not going to replace your cable machine. I wanted to make sure I talked about that in this video since we're getting a ton of questions about it. Your cable machine, your functional trainer, in all honesty, should probably be the maybe number 1 or number 2 piece of equipment that you get in your gym. That's just straightforward. Something like what we have back there, I've yet to find a machine or any piece of equipment that will do more than a good functional trainer. Something with arms that go high to low, wide to narrow, a resistance that goes up and down, so on and so forth. It's a classic for a reason. It's the best. But that being said, this is an incredible toy. And it is a very advanced piece of equipment, and the resistance is different. Again, so much of this, people overcomplicate it. People want to know, okay, can I get this if it replaces this? Should I get rid of this and then buy this? Oftentimes, this is just about confusing your muscles and keeping it fun. That is something that is very undervalued in training, both as a trainer for myself and as a trainer for my clients. The concept of keeping the workout fun and entertaining is half the battle. It's also very hard to quantify. It's very hard to quantify how fun the experience is. It's really easy to quantify the difference between this and that. You can look at our product reviews. You can look at pricing, usage, footprint, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to just enjoying your workout, using something different, having fun, it's like you're working out with a robot buddy. It's pretty darn cool. And that's really what I'll leave it at the arena. There is a large missing piece to their technology in that I can't go from high to low. I'm limited by only one area of resistance in one direction, but it's still fun. And I still love it. Well done, arena. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.